Right, let's all. Hi guys, welcome to the lesson on how to play the solo from She's Electric by Oasis. This song is in the key of E, and we're basically going to be using two scales mainly. That's E major pentatonic position 3 and then E major pentatonic position 4. So this is position 3 and then position 4. Okay, I'm going to put some links down below to those two scale shapes so you can have a go through those and see where he's getting most of his notes from. There are a couple of notes that are not from those scales, but they're mostly passing notes, okay? So it's a really cool way of doing it. Let's crack on. First bend is going to be on this F sharp note, which is 7th fret on the B string, okay? And I'm going to bend that note a whole tone, so I'm going to bend it from an F sharp note to a G sharp note. That's my target note. So it's going to be... Oh, a little bit higher, Paul. Yeah. Bend that up. It's not a very fast bend. It's almost do. Then I'm going to re-pick that note. So it's going to sound like that G sharp note. Then I'm going to release just a little bit so it now sounds like a G note. And I'm going to bend back down to that F sharp note. So I bend up, re-pick, let it down a little, and then bend it back down to the F sharp note. Then I'm going to end the lick on the root note, the E note. That's so common. It's a classic move and it sounds great. So I'll just play it through. Just a little thing that I find myself doing is when I'm doing that little pre-bend and then pull down, I do a little and add in a little tiny bend. That's a little flavour that I like to add. It's not actually something that you have to do to get it bang on. But that's just something I like to add in, so it's going to be... Okay, that's the first lick. The second lick is going to be a similar kind of sound actually to start with, but it's going to be a slide version. We're going to slide now from the F sharp, which is the 7th fret on the B string, to the 9th fret on the B string, which is the G sharp note. I'm going to do this with my third finger. It's going to be a slow slide, so you can hear both notes. It's not... It's... Okay, then I'm basically going to just work my way up. For position 4, E major pentatonic. 7th, so it's going to be 7th fret on the E string then. And then it's going to be 9th fret on the E string. Okay, so I've just worked my way up the scale. The second note there is slightly shorter than you think it is. I think it feels like you should hold it, but I think there's a rest in between. Yeah, so there's a little kind of half a beat rest before you then play the 9, so you don't let it ring until you play the 9. It's not really that, it's more... There's a little rest in there. Anyway, that's really getting geeky about how accurate it is, but there is a little rest in there. So that after the 9, which is the C sharp note on the E string, so 9th fret E string with your ring finger, we're then going to play the 7 again. So we're going to go back to that B note with our first finger. Now he does slide away a little bit, but it's very quick because we're straight into the next note. So, but it is there. There's a little slide away to nothing. But it's not far enough down. It's not as you sometimes get. It's just a little, and it just adds a little bit extra coolness to the riff. Actually, it's a nice little thing to try and add in. The next bit is we're going to bend. We're going to slide from this G note to the G sharp note, which is 8 to 9 on the B string. Now that's a classic blues move. That is because you're going from the minor third to the major third, which is a classic thing to do in a blues. But it sounds great as well, which is also another reason to do it. And then we're going to be up here. This is the root note, so it's a second lick we're going to end on the root note. So it's going to be, this is all going to be with 1 and 3. So if you just watch it through, it's going to be... Okay. So that's relatively simple. It's a similar kind of feel to that bend and similar in the way it sounds actually, but we're doing it all with slides, okay? Now the next lick, kind of lick 3, it does break down quite well because he holds that E note for, I think it must be about 2.5 beats. So it's you know, it's a good amount of rest time in between. It's basically 4 licks that are broken up quite nicely, which sounds really good as well. We're going to play that E note again, and then we get the real feel of this solo, which is double stops. We're going to have a whole bar of doing double stops. Double stops is just a snazzy name for playing two notes at the same time. But just before the bar, on the and of the 4, we're going to just play that E note again, and then it's going to be... So this first bit is going to be 7 on the E, and then it's going to be 9 on the B. So this is within the scale, and we're going to play this one 5 times. I'm doing this all with downs, again, because I have too much time on my hands and I'm a massive geek when it comes to these things. I was trying it like down-upping it, but I think it sounds better with all downs, and there's 5 of them, and it's because of the song. If you know the song, you'll know it's slightly swung, so it's not that it's a slight swing in it, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. Then we're going to keep that same shape, which is going to be a 1 and 3 shape. We're going to move it down to 6th fret and 8th fret, and then we're going to move it down to 5th fret and 7th fret. So it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we're going to end by playing 4 on the E string and then 5 on the B string. That's the bottom part of a triad that would make up an E major chord. So again, that's an E note there, that's a G sharp note. So it's got a real E major feel. I mean, it's classic what he does, but it just sounds really, really good. And that final one we hold for most of the next bar, actually, yeah. So it must be 2.5 beats, I think, at the next bar. So we're holding that for quite a long time. If you know, once you've heard the solo a couple of times, it's hummable, so you'll get the vibe. But that's that little bottom part of the D shape, the second position chord in E major, just the little bottom part of it. So you got that E note first. And that's all with a swing, basically. So that's the main thing to remember there. And then we've got lick number 4, which is the... Now, yeah, this is a bend where we're going to be going from this F sharp note again. Now, the tonality of what note he's actually hitting is really interesting. Yeah, it's kind of a tone, which would be the G sharp note, but it also kind of does flick over onto that, almost onto an A sound sometimes. So you can bend a tone, but almost a tone and a half. So if you bend it slightly over, it's going to actually work. So this is another classic lick where we bend up, and then we re-pick and we bend it down, and then we pull off to the root note. Okay, so it's 2 picks. We bend up with the first one, the tone to tone and a half. Then we pick a second time as we bend down and we pull off. Okay, that's classic blues lick again. Okay, then we're going to play 7 again, which is the F sharp note on the B string. 7 on the B, which is an F sharp. Then back to the root. Okay. And then we're going to end the solo with some more awesome double stops. Now, you really have to do this with 1 and 2, so you have to do a little bit of stretching, because the first double stop, which is going to be 4 on the E and 5 on the B, I'm actually going to slide so it's 5 on the E and 7 on the B. Okay, so you have to do that 1 and 2. You could probably do that, but that just feels weird to me. This feels much more natural. But if you wanted to do it like this, you could justify it to me. I could believe you if you said that. But I'm going to do it 1 and 2. Then to end it, I'm just going to play that first one again, which is 4 and 5. Then I'm going to play 5 and 7 again. Then I'm going to play 4 and 5 again. Now I do everything 1 and 2 because it's relatively fast, so I don't want to be thinking about having to change what fingers I use. But again, you could justifiably go, or mix them up, you know. But I think that feels more complicated to me to change your fingers, so I use my first finger and my middle finger for that whole thing, and that's the way I'd suggest to do it. So that's it Wow, that's probably the quickest solo I ever teach, but it's 4 awesome licks. I've already got a video, which again I'll also link in the bottom, which is me playing the solo, so you'll be able to hear that. But that's the solo. It's a really, really awesome song. I definitely recommend learning this song. It's one of my favourite Oasis songs. Yeah, and this is probably my favourite album. Well, the first album was really good, but What's the Story is probably the first one I bought myself. I didn't have to steal off my brother. And I have the book, the Oasis book, the What's the Story Morning Glory book, which I bought, you know, circa about 95, 96 when I had just started playing. And also this was the first solo I taught myself to play by ear. I got it slightly wrong, but it was a very important song to me, so hopefully you'll enjoy it. Yeah, there's a couple of really cool tricks in there. It's just a classic blues solo played over a major chord progression. It's really, really good. If you want to know the chord progression of this song, it basically is an E, a G sharp major. Normally within the key it would be a minor, but they play it as a major. Then it's a C sharp minor. Then it's a B. Sorry, an A. Why did I say B? Then you do that lick. C, D, E. Yeah, but that's the rough chord sequence. Yeah, so watch the video of me doing it. I'm just mumbling now. I'm just going to cut it. The solo's done. Learn the solo. It's awesome. Please like this. Comment at the bottom, because it really makes a difference if you like it, and comment on it and share it. It makes a difference for me. It makes my life much better. Okay, so please do that, and I will see you soon. Bye bye.